Hello everyone, and welcome back to my Farmstead build that's in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide. Sigil Architects Guild is a Discord server that wants to build a library or database of WSM files for DMs to use for their own use. Today is the fourth part, and I am going to start building the roof. Using only the basic dungeon set. Building foundations, building walls in the basic set is pretty easy, but we found that building the roof is a little more challenging, trying to get the different angles. And what I found is use this small wedge-shaped asset and find the major corners or the outside corners of the building first. Put them down where that angle goes inside, and you can find interesting angles to have for your roof line. In this video, I did speed it up because I know not everybody has time to watch someone build a roof for 30 minutes. So, starting with the corner pieces, again, you can hold Control and Shift to bring things up. You can change the lighting to make it easier to see what you're doing. On some of these angles, and you'll see, I kind of went back and forth on it, and then I found a different design as well, and I'll point that out once I get to it. The background music that you hear, or you might be able to hear, is from the game itself, which makes it a little better, I think, for the listener instead of just dead noise when I'm not speaking. So I found the major corners of this building, and now I'm going to start building it up. I found out here that you can slide it all the way into the connecting piece, and it kind of automatically fills. You'll see me do that a little bit later. So you'll notice when you copy or make things into a group, and then you move that group around the grid, it loses its snapping to the grid, and so you'll have to, sometimes things don't line up as well as you would like. And so that time I went all the way through to the next connecting piece, and it just lines up a little bit better than trying to get it to the edge. For the front of this building, I'm going to do what I did with my bastion build and use this what looks like a sewer grate. And I'll bring that all the way to the edge because with the arc in it, it looks pretty neat with the gable. And I decided to do the same thing on the other side, even though people aren't going to see that side as much when they're playing the game. But it's nice to have that balance. And again, I just went all the way through on the far side. So now I have very little roof to continue to build on this building, but finding interesting angles or eye-catching things that the players might notice is really fun. I know in the real world you wouldn't want to have the roof line go down into what would be the attic, but this is fantasy world, and I thought that it looked interesting. Right, so I've got the complicated building done. And one of the reasons why I did that roof with the grate on it is when you start putting interior light into the space, that space or that light can bleed out of the grate, which is kind of a neat effect, especially if you're playing the game in a night setting. So I'm just putting in light assets. I'll change the lighting down to basic night. And it looks pretty cool. You can see through the windows. And when you put the roof back on, you can see that glow come up through the grates. I'll just take these pieces out. Be very careful when you're deleting things that you actually click on the object that you want to delete and not the floor underneath it or a neighboring object. So it'll always highlight white, what you have selected, and then you can make sure that you have the right piece to delete. Tree was in the way there, so I hope that I had lined it up well enough. Looked like I did. This is the building where I thought maybe I don't need to do the gables, but then, as you'll see, I decided to do it anyway. It just makes more sense. This is where I'm noticing that mistake. I should have put that gable on the other way, but I will get to it. Again, I should have just gone all the way through to the piece. Yep, I was right the first time. Put these shapes in the gables first in the corners, and that makes it just a lot easier to find the angle of the roof that you are looking for. Right, 2 buildings done. On to the next one that has another interesting shape. Start with the corner gables. I forgot the size of this building here, so that's not going to work. So I just changed this small room using not the gabled piece, but the normal 45-degree block. And I thought for this one I would go for a little different roof line. Still thinking about how I want that top piece to be, but there isn't the shape that I wanted in the way, so I kind of went back to the original idea. All right, so now all of my buildings have their roofs on it. And thank you so much for watching. Uh, in my next video, I will be using the master tier to rebuild this, but it might just be a video of not building it, but going through the difference in the assets and the pieces.